Contrarians, welcome back to the Encrypted Capital Recap for Wednesday, June 15th. First off, it's been an absolute bloodbath the last several days. And as we know, or you should know by now, the Fed has decided to raise interest rates by 75 basis points. Now, the market is responding positively to this, at least in the short term, but I'm still not convinced that a bottom is in yet, but it does appear that there is some buying pressure taking place at these levels. One thing that I did find that was very interesting was that Bitcoin dominance has been falling, and it's been falling basically since, let's see, the 9th or 10th, I want to say, 11th or so. So for the last 4 days or so, Bitcoin dominance has been falling, and if you're new here, what that basically means is that money should be flowing into altcoins at this point. Okay, Bitcoin, the money is flowing out of Bitcoin and into other assets. So, like I said, I am not completely convinced yet that a bottom is in, but this could be viewed as a positive sign for a majority of these assets in the crypto space. If we go ahead and take a look here to the right, we can go see what some of the top performers are right now. Right now, we're looking at BAT up about 22%. Reef, Rev, Tron, 13.4. Wow, that's pretty interesting to me. We did actually throw that up on our newsletter as well. That it basically hit the bottom of the triangle, and then there's some buyers that were stepping in here. We'll see if this stuff holds. A lot of times what will happen is, if a bottom does come in, as we've seen, at least recently in the past year or two, bottom will come in, it might pop up, and come back down and test one more time, possibly wick down just a little bit farther to catch the lows and maybe liquidate some longs at that entry and then continue on. But regardless, seems like an excellent buying opportunity depending on what your plan is. So with this Fed interest rate hike here, basically, we're seeing that the SPY is not going into a full-blown bear market just yet. We're still around that 20%, which would be considered a bear market. I don't think that the pain is just going to be over immediately, but you have to think with all of these things crashing around this time, how much further down could we possibly go? I mean, we could go down further. I could be completely wrong, but is there a chance that something flips? I would have to think possibly. Yes, I have a feeling that a lot of the money is going to flow into commodities if the stock market does continue to drop. Now, the million-dollar question is, will Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as a whole end up being treated as a commodity eventually? Because right now, it really hasn't performed too much like it. It's really just been based on the anticipation of inflation, not so much actual inflation, because inflation is here and it's performed like absolute dog shit. So will or could there be a catalyst that turns the ship around? I have no idea, but I'm willing to wait it out. So, found this article here. Essentially, it says that the Fed announces the biggest interest rate hike in 28 years. Bitcoin gains. Says the labor market is extremely tight and inflation is much too high, said Jerome Powell. So right now, we're basically hovering at the 2018 all-time high of roughly 20K. If you would have told me back when Bitcoin hit 70,000 or just below 70,000, if you would have told me at that point that Bitcoin was going to go ahead and test 20K, I would have totally believed you, because we've seen this time and time again. This is nothing new. Yeah, it's a little bit further than the 50% corrections that we're used to, but guess what? There's normally always a back test of major support, and 20K is that support. Now, do I think we can wick lower than 20K? Absolutely. It wouldn't surprise me if we hit like 17.5 to 18.5, somewhere in that range, because there's going to be a lot of liquidity sitting at those levels. And so this is why the crypto market is not for everybody. If you have to basically utilize the money that you have immediately and you don't have time to wait for your positions to play out, you will get wrecked and you will lose money in these markets. This is why it's very important to only play with money you can afford to lose and with money that you do not immediately need. You have to allow yourself time for these positions to mature. I was back in, I don't know what year it was, but when we were buying Bitcoin very, very early on and we saw it hit $1,100. It was testing the price of gold at the time. Pretty epic. Brand new to the space. And sure enough, what happened? It decreased all the way down to $90, basically losing more than 90% of its value. And me personally was holding through this entire time. Now, was that scary as shit? Absolutely. Was I confident in what I was invested in? Absolutely. Did I care that it dropped that far? Yeah, kinda. It stung a little bit, but I still had a full-time job. I was still working. It didn't really matter. I used that as a buying opportunity. And now what? I was laughing all the way to the bank when it goes and hits $68,000. That little drop to $100 meant absolutely nothing. So it all depends on your mindset. Do you have the balls? Do you know what's invested in? Do you know what you're invested in, I should say? Do you know why you're here? Do you think that crypto is just going to magically go away and not be utilized anymore? Or do you think this is the way to flush out all the people that were jumping in on the bandwagon when Michael Saylor was talking about how he's adding to his positions for MicroStrategy, how Elon Musk was hustling everybody with Doge and with his Bitcoin buys? There's a deliberate reason why everybody was having diamond hands and laser eyes and all that bullshit. It was to keep the regular traders, the regular retail traders in the space, to keep on buying, because the average Joe thought, well, if these guys are buying, I should be buying too, when in all reality, they were selling to you. Which is why we do not trust the billionaires, we do not trust the Pomplianos, we do not trust the MicroStrategies, the Sailors, the Musks, all those tools, the BitBoy cryptos, all those guys we do not have any confidence in, because we know the game. Now, our game is to go ahead and catch the mega pump cycles. Now, did we hit it completely? Not necessarily, at least not compared to what we've seen before, but we did make an absolute killing in the market with some of our calls and with some of our trades. We're talking Telcoin, DENT, and some of the other assets. Even the Bitcoin Cash has still performed pretty well. The Litecoin still performed pretty well. I believe Litecoin tapped its previous all-time high, just barely. But regardless, we're in it for the long haul. We know we're investing. We can kind of see what's coming down the pipeline as far as regulation goes, which assets are going to be utilized. We're talking ISO assets. If you guys have been here for any length of time, we've done a million videos on those. So go check those out. But this is where the market's heading. Like, you got to have time. You got to take the time to play out, and you have to use these opportunities that are presented to you as buying opportunities. If you don't have any dry powder, it doesn't matter. As long as you don't sell, you've not taken the loss. Now, one thing you might be able to do is take advantage of a tax loophole where you go ahead and sell whatever you bought at a loss and then immediately buy it back up and throw that on your capital losses. Consult your accountants. I'm not one. But those are some things that you can do if you're in drawdown right now. But if you're not in drawdown like us, we still got in early in the market, still pulled out some profits, still had some fun. We didn't pull out everything. We still have large positions in a majority of these assets. We're here for the long haul. We can let these assets mature. It's not a big deal to us. But if you're playing with scared money, those are the guys that end up losing. Those are the guys and ladies that end up giving up their hard-earned money, their hard-earned coins to the whales at discount prices. That's how the game's played. Been doing this for over a decade now, basically. Almost a decade. So if you're brand new here, don't wig out unless you basically have your mortgage to pay and you've invested all your money like an idiot at the top, which is not what you want to do. You want to buy when the market is most scared. And right now, people are shitting their pants, which for us, buying opportunity. Add to your positions if you can. Otherwise, hold on tight, because it wouldn't surprise me if Bitcoin ends up jumping from like 18K all the way back up to 30 in a relatively short amount of time, because now the narrative changes and they figured out how to make it faster or whatever and how it's better for the environment. Nothing would surprise me at this time, and nothing should surprise you at this time, especially if the market continues to fall. But I do think we may be close to a bottom, although you're never going to time a bottom 100% of the time. You're never going to time a top 100% of the time. That's just the way the market works. It's meant to deceive you. It's meant to get you wrong-footed every single time. Unless you've been here, you accumulate. You think like the whales do. You buy when everybody's scared, and you can make a absolute killing. Now, one of the reasons for what's going on here is this crypto lender Celsius. They paused withdrawals due to extreme market conditions. Does that remind you of anybody? Robinhood with their AMC bullshit that they pulled when they basically made it so you couldn't buy anymore, you could only sell, thus crashing the market. This is the exchanges essentially hitting the panic button and not allowing traders to make the trades they want to make because, in my opinion, they're probably hogging all the best entries if they're trying to short these assets or if these assets are at the bottom and they're trying to long them. They do not want the peons involved. So, if you guys don't know, crypto lender Celsius is pausing all account withdrawals and transfers, citing the extreme market conditions, and it said the firm had more than $8 billion lent out to clients and almost $12 billion in assets under management as of May. Bitcoin and other tokens plunged, with the world's biggest digital coin falling to lows not seen since December of 2020, which is why this whole yield farming bullshit that everybody's doing, we have no idea how they're getting this money, just printing out of thin air and distributing it into your account. I mean, if that doesn't scream Ponzi scheme, I don't know what does. So that's why you guys got to be careful when this stuff sounds too good to be true. Most likely, it probably is. Never even talked about Celsius once. Never even got into Luna once, except for when we took advantage of the fear, like we put out in our newsletter not too long ago. Our Luna trade, why we were buying it, when we were buying it, and what our other trade entries were going to be if it continued to decline. So if you guys aren't a member and you want to support the channel, great way to do so. Pretty active on this stuff. We just dropped some of our latest trades and kind of what we're looking at here in the short term. So, is the bottom in? Raul Paul, Scaramucci, Load Up, Novogratz, and Hayes weigh in. Can't really take or put too much weight on what these guys say because these guys are in the big boy club, the club that you and I are not in, playing with billions of dollars. As we talked about in one of the last videos, Dan Moorhead of a Encrypted Capital somehow magically exited 80% of his Luna position at the very top. Really have to think, is there coercion going on behind the scenes? I'd have to lean towards yes, obviously. Why wouldn't you? If you and your buddies are all managing billions of dollars, it'd be very, very easy to manipulate these markets and pull the market whichever way you choose to do so. It says some of these high-profile investors have taken the recent market downturn as an opportunity to add to their crypto positions, though others warn there's still a risk of worse to come. Bottom line is that Bitcoin is down from $70,000 to roughly $20K. Massive discounted prices. If somebody told you at $70K, hey, you'll be able to buy Bitcoin at $20K in a little less than a year or so, you'd probably be jumping for joy if you can get it at a discounted rate at that time. But now it finally hits these price points and everybody's shitting the bed, fucking exiting their positions. Cool, great, I will buy your fear. Guys have to look at it from the opposite side. This is the best time to enter the market. These are the best times to start funds. These are the best times to align yourself in what the future is going to hold in cryptocurrencies. Why wouldn't you do it? It's like if you were going to go buy that Ferrari you always wanted and it dropped from 250 down to 100K, you mean tell me you wouldn't go scoop that shit up tomorrow? Of course you would. Why it's different with investing is beyond me. You have to have balls of steel and you have to know why you're in the space. If you're just chasing the quick gains and the green candles, you're going to get fucking wrecked 100% of the time. Take it from someone who's done it. Done it when I started out trading, and you learn very, very quickly what not to do. Basically made all the mistakes you could possibly make in these markets, and now I can take everything I've learned over a decade and pass it along so you guys don't have to make those same mistakes. And when I was doing this shit, there's hardly any social media and YouTube going on, let alone people posting their trades and all that other stuff. It was very, very like figure it out yourself and you're going to fail along the way. and maybe you'll get it right. I mean, shit, I was buying stupid ass mining stocks and all sorts of dumb shit because I thought I was a genius because I made a ton of money by somewhat getting lucky, getting into the crypto space at the right time. But just because you get in and make a bunch of money right away does not make you a genius trader. And you'll learn that very, very quickly. This is why we hold our positions and catch those mega pumps, because they come around every 4 or 5 years and you make a fucking absolute killing and then you cash out and you go enjoy yourself, right? I still got friends that are holding on to shit they bought when it was $10. They're multimillionaires, still haven't spent a dime. 10 years later. I think it's absolutely idiotic, but it's not my money, so it doesn't really matter. Now, back to the question, is the bottom in? I don't think the bottom is just magically going to be in because they raised 75 basis points. It's not how it works. We'll probably get some sort of retest, but you can bet your ass I entered in some positions yesterday and today. Why wouldn't I? Things are absolute fucking steal, especially like XRP, 30, 29, 28 cents, dude. Anything under $1 is an absolute steal in my opinion. And just think, for 10 grand you get 30,000 of them. It's crazy. So, also want to point out here, speaking of XRP, seamless transition. Brad Garlinghouse explains why Ripple has survived cyclical bear markets. If you go back and look, and you can see that XRP is one of like 3 assets that's remained in the top 10. You got XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum have all somehow magically managed to stay in the top 10 for literally like a decade. Why do you think that is? Do you think these assets have staying power? XRP, in my opinion, for sure does. And I would even venture to say Ethereum has more staying power than Bitcoin, simply because you have 80% of the projects built on Ethereum. Although Bitcoin does have the name recognition, it's slow as shit and it's old technology. But regardless, crypto's not going anywhere, in my opinion. You're probably going to have a thinning of the herd. And the ones that are left, if you've aligned yourself properly, you're going to be in the big boy club with the Novogratses. Possibly. And maybe you'll end up even getting a stupid-ass Luna tattoo like he did. Or some other crypto tattoo. But back to what Garlinghouse was saying. Offering some words of encouragement. Days like today, and this was a couple days ago, days like today are never what you hope to see, especially in an industry with as much incredible talent as crypto. If you recently joined the industry and haven't seen a downturn like this, know that this too shall pass. Advice from someone who's seen a few downturns over the years. This guy was once the richest man in the world, literally at the very height of the last bull run in 2018, the very beginning of 2018. This guy was murdering it. Former AOL CEO. You think this guy doesn't have any connections? Think there's a reason that Jeb McCaleb is involved in all this stuff? XLM, XRP, Mt. Gox. The guy's got a fucking horseshoe up his ass. So, again, take the advice from someone who's seen a few downturns. Garlinghouse speaking some words of wisdom. If you don't need your money right away, just fucking stay put already and stop bitching and complaining. This is a golden opportunity if you so choose to take it. Also, as we spoke about XLM, MoneyGram and Stellar Blockchain partner to enable USDC remittances. I believe this was a little while ago. When was this? All right, so yeah, this was a couple weeks ago, but I missed this. I didn't put this one out here. But Stellar Lumens was basically joining with MoneyGram, supporting the USD coin, which former Goldman Sachs, I should say former investments by Goldman Sachs back in like 2015, I want to say. You can kind of see if you pull back the curtain how all these guys and these companies are tied together. It's no mistake that MoneyGram moved on from XRP and is utilizing XLM. And so it says that Bloomberg reported that MoneyGram International planning to partner with Stellar Blockchain to support stablecoin remittances and conversions to fiat money. So basically, the MoneyGram CEO said the world of crypto and the world of fiat are not really compatible today. We're trying to be a bridge. Again, talking about bridge assets, bridge currencies. Okay, XRP, XLM, two of the leaders. So they're trying to be the bridge from the crypto world to the fiat world. And he went on to say that users with digital wallets on the Stellar blockchain will be able to convert their holdings into Circle Internet Financial's USDC stablecoin, which can then be cashed out through MoneyGram's network. And the latest news comes in the wake of the Terra USDT collapse. So you can see how all this story is starting to unfold. All this Terra Luna, Celsius, all these crazy black swans, which in my opinion are not really black swans. They are probably planned black swans, if anything, in order to push price down, in order to force the weak hands out, i.e. most people in these crypto spaces, so they can give up all that XRP and all that XLM that they accumulate at, maybe a higher price point, 50, 80 cents, whatever, a dollar. In the grand scheme of things, still a steal. Still a steal. I don't care if you bought at the all-time high. What is in store for XRP is going to be absolutely massive, and people are going to be wondering, how the hell did you buy XRP at $3? How did you know? And if you got it any cheaper than that, well, you're smarter than most. So I think with that being said, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Encrypted Capital Recap. If you guys like what you heard, please drop us a like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter. We got a free version and a paid version. We'll catch you all in the next video.